Okay, perfectionism, how to use it, 10 tips. If you just want the summary, use the description below and its timestamps. It'll take you to all the main points, all the juicy stuff. However, if you want the full package, keep watching. Is this thing even recording? Okay, let's get into it. Tip number 1. Create more realistic personal goals and expectations. So the purpose of this tip is to give you something to aim for so that you don't go stumbling in the dark. And how you can set goals is to use that SMART method. I'm flashing back to LO. So set a goal that's specific, manageable, actionable. What's the other one? Reliable? Yeah, you can Google the rest. And timely. So for example, my goal for this video is to see all the flops that I make and try to improve them for the next video. I'm not gonna try and get a million subs off this video. I'm not gonna try and convince you to subscribe. This is a learning curve. It's a new setup. I did not study photography and all that stuff in college, so that's my goal. Just to see where I flop and to see where I can improve. Tip number 2 is challenge your inner critic and dispute negative thoughts. It's amazing how, because as an ex-introvert myself, things are always worse in your head than it's gonna turn out in reality. For example, the most negative thoughts I'm having is people are not gonna like this video because this light above me is not lighting my face in the right way. There's too much shine, there's too much shadows. That's the most negative thoughts I have right now. So what they said I must do, I must challenge it. Challenge my inner critic. So the purpose of this is to get rid of any negative thoughts you have so that you don't end up blocking yourself from achieving your goals. How you can do this is to think about the worst possible solution and how dumb it is. For example, I've watched plenty of low quality YouTube videos shot outside on an Android, I don't know what, looking terrible. 2 megapixel rear camera, front camera actually, and I loved it because of the content. As long as you can relate to the video and as long as you're having fun doing it, that's fine. Can't please everyone. I've learned that earlier in life. And as long as I know what I'm doing is of worth to other people and can be improved, it's okay with me. Okay, tip number 3. Prioritize self-care and invest in yourself. It's pretty straightforward. I feel like the purpose of this tip is to take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. Because if you can't take care of your own health, if you can't eat right, if you can't build yourself up physically, mentally, and spiritually, how are you gonna help the guy down the road? How are you gonna help your daughter later in life when you couldn't even help yourself? So I feel like what we can do is make time for our health. For example, I don't have time to gym in my day. My day is way too busy. So I get up a few hours earlier in the morning so that I can gym before my day even starts. Make time. Tip number 4 is learn how to say no more often. I feel like the purpose of this tip is to block out everything that's stopping you from being your best self so that you can actually be your best self. For example, I'm actually going to take these tips I talked about now and I'm going to say no to something that I decided earlier on in the video, which was I'm not going to do gym today because I'm going to concentrate on getting this video done. That's going to be my main goal. If I do that, I'd be ignoring step 3, which is self-care. And I feel like if I do that, I'm not worthy to make this video. So
4 days later.
That took longer than expected. Tip number 5, remember that time off is not time wasted. If you're anything like me, when you want something done, you usually focus on it until it gets done. And I've realized that that does not work most of the time for me, because as I'm laser focused, my willpower disintegrates and I become lazy and I get headaches. And it doesn't make sense to push through, but I still feel like doing that anyway. And it feels really hard to pull away from stuff, especially if it's something you've been working on for a long time that you expect it to take a very short amount of time to do. During these past couple of days, I watched my videos and I wasn't impressed. But my brain kept on working and I got to write down some ideas for improvements in my little bullet journal. I'll explain how that whole creative process works, but that's a video for another time. So this tip was very hard to apply for me, but it worked out. Tip number 6, trust that it'll all get done in time. If there's one thing that video making taught me, it's that consistency always beats intensity. I feel like Will Smith said it best. You don't set out to build a wall. You say, I'm gonna lay this brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. And if you do that every day, soon you have a wall. Think back to your last big goal. Maybe it was getting fit, or maybe it was just watching a movie. Things didn't just get done like that. They took a long time. For example, if you walk into a gym, you're not gonna do 10 push-ups and boom, you got your perfect beach body. No, it takes months, sometimes even years, if you're really fat. Yeah, you have to be intense, you have to focus when you're making this. You have to be focused when you're making this stuff. But if you don't know how to do it the day after that, and after that, and after that, you're not gonna end up with much of anything. Tip number 7 is schedule regular breaks. Mini ad break. If you're enjoying the video, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you'll know when I release a new video. Subscribe. Regular breaks help you to reflect on what you did already and see what mistakes you made so that you can improve them. There's a whole lot of tips I got for you. That's a video for another day. There's a lot of videos for another day. For example, I'm not shooting this video straightforward. After my last tip, I went to go do some face pulls. I read a little and then I realized I interpreted the previous tip wrong. When they say trust that everything will get done in time, they weren't talking about like in time in the future. They're talking about deadlines in time, like it's due tomorrow in time. It has to be, they should have said on time. Hey, I don't know. Tip number 8, take a weekend vacation to get away. Sometimes you're in the same environment for so long, you take it as the norm and you feel that you can't do anything to improve it. But step away from it for a while and you'll be able to get a fresh perspective on things. And that fresh perspective can be what saves you from a big flop that lies ahead. Have you ever had this thing where you were frustrated with something and you left it for a while, but when you came back you were a boss? Because that happened to me in a number of things. Like for example, I haven't made a video in a while, like months. But when I decided to make videos again, I came back with this mindset of, you know what, my studio just isn't all that. I need to do it up, I need to change it, I need something fresh. And that's what a long break can do to you. Trust me. Tip number 9, stop multitasking. Our brains aren't designed to perform 2 tasks at the same time. We need to concentrate our energy on one task because that's when we are best at that. For example, I was editing a video while walking here. I left the door open. I didn't know my mother closed the door. You can all guess what happened. Slammed in the door. Mother got a shock. Still didn't pelt me because I'm a big boy now. I don't get ideas. And I don't normally do that. I got so sucked into my video that I became oblivious to my surroundings. And that's what can happen to you in anything. If you try to do 2 things at the same time, the danger in that is that you can become so wrapped up in the one thing that the other action suffers. What if my phone fell? then I couldn't make any videos. So if you do have to do two things urgently, focus on one for a while and then switch to the other. It's way more effective and safe for your phone. And finally, number 10, practice not holding others to your standards. Let's say you're learning the guitar and your guitar instructor says, I play with a pick, so you have to learn guitar with the pick. And you're like, nah, I'd rather use my fingers. And your guitar instructor forces you, use the pick. How does the instructor know that playing with the pick will bring out the best in the students? For example, if the student did play with the pick, he just plays straight like that. This will be the best he can play. But what if he used his fingers and he's found out that he's really good at fingerstyle guitar?
One jam session later.
We're not all the same. Someone might be a little different from you. And that's a good thing, because if you play your cards right, they can find different ways to do things better and easier. For example, this setup over here, I was working for months. I could never get a setup like this. I was working on this thing for months and it was whack. This was done by my friend Benito. I'm still waiting for that video, Benito. Where's it? Huh? But anyway, yeah, guys.